everybody, I am Levi, and we're trying out a new type of video today. Now, I've done sort of like unboxings in the past, but I thought that this might be something fun to do. So, you already know what it is from the title, but over time, I generally like to collect some games. I have a couple of local game stores, and then I check things like eBay and Amazon sometimes, and generally I like to kind of build up my game collection. I'm not particularly interested in things like completing a collection or like owning every game for a console or owning games just because they're rare or collectible. For me with game collecting, it's just, will I have fun playing it? Okay. Is the condition, is it complete? Does it have the manual? Is it just the disc? I don't care. If I can play the game, I've already got everything I want out of it. So, kind of as a disclaimer, that's where I stand with collecting games. But I figured it'd be fun to just kind of do recent game pickups. So, this is all the games and gaming stuff that I have collected or bought or have now. Then, this is everything I've collected between December 17th, 2017 and March 8th, 2018. So, that's like a 3.5 month time frame of just kind of whatever I collected. Well, not 3.5, like 2.5 month time frame of just everything that I've kind of collected in that time frame and just kind of what I thought about it. There won't be gameplay footage in this, just a couple screenshots, because for the most part I do want to remain spoiler free myself, and doing a ton of research on them for this video would kind of get me spoiled a bit on some of these, and I want to go into as many games as possible completely blind. So, we'll just do these in console order. So, for the Dreamcast, I got a game called Blue Stinger. It didn't come with a case, but it's some sort of third-person horror, maybe it's a shooter? I don't know. But I had a GameStop gift card, and they just had that there for some reason. And when I asked about it, they said, yeah, the price, we keep dropping the price on this. Nobody wants to buy a Dreamcast game from GameStop. So I was just like, okay, I have a gift card. Why not use it? And it just sounded interesting to me. I don't really know what to expect or what exactly it is, but I don't see many Dreamcast games, so I figured I'd get it. Another thing for the Dreamcast I got was just another controller. I already had one, but I didn't have another one. I do have a 2-player game that I've been meaning to get around to. I have like a Namco collection thing. I just don't know how much use I'll get out of it, but it was super cheap, at least a lot more than you'd normally find them for, so I figured it was worth it. And the last Sega thing is I got Sonic 1, the very first Sonic the Hedgehog, which it was actually really cut in price because somebody colored pen all over it. The thing with this game is, I had gotten pretty much all the main series Sonic games on the Genesis. Actually, I think all of them but this one, except for maybe 3D Blast, I don't know if that counts. And I just hadn't been getting this one because I've been looking around because they all say not for resale. I thought it was like a demo unit or something like that. And I never actually bothered to go and get it because every time I saw it, it said not for resale, and I thought, is that a demo unit? Is it like a beta? Is it a store test card? It says not for resale, what does that mean? And then I looked it up at one point, I was like, oh, I'm stupid. Every single copy of this game has not for resale, it's just the game. So, then I figured I'd get it. And I got a nice deal on it because of the paint. Next, on to Xbox. I only got one game for the Xbox One, that was Yooka-Laylee. I've definitely heard mixed reviews on it, but a friend of mine, GayBuckarina96, has been really trying to get me interested in it, and I really like just the genre of 3D platformers, and for me personally, whether people like it or hate it, I'm going in blind, and I'd like to just kind of make my own decision as to what I think of this game. For the Xbox 360, I got Red Faction Armageddon, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I've really enjoyed the Darksiders series, which is another THQ property, and it just kind of generally looked interesting to me. When I was like earlier on in YouTube, I kept seeing this game pop up because people wanted to talk about like some unicorn thing that's in it, but I don't know. It just kind of caught my eye. It was super cheap, and I'm interested in seeing what it has to offer at some point. And then I got Max Payne 3. I've been interested in getting into this series. I know 3 is a big departure, some people say, but I'm really interested in just trying out the franchise. I haven't tried any of the games in the franchise, but now I own all 3 games in the franchise. And the last one I got was Sneak King, which I just want to play. I want to see what exactly it is, what it's like, and it cost me 49 cents, so I don't really care about buying something when it's that cheap, and I just want to see what it is and laugh at it and who knows what. But we'll get a group together for that, I'm sure. For the original Xbox, I got Crimson Skies. This is I don't know if it's an exclusive or not, but I've heard a lot about it, and every time I see it, it's always the Xbox version, so it might be an exclusive. It's kind of like Ace Combat, or sort of. It's like a dogfight with planes, I think, and it's just a lot more classic. It's more like World War I or II or something, but I'm interested in trying it out. And then we have PacMan World 2, which I've never known that much about, but one of the mods in my Discord server, Van, if you know him, he has been recommending this to me a lot, and then I went through the soundtrack for the game at one point, and I'm very interested in this. I really want to see what it's like, because after actually like hearing like, oh, it's a good game, I was like, oh, Pac-Man 3D? What is that? What is that? I've heard really good things from him. I've looked into it a bit, and it looks like a really fun game that's really interesting, and I cannot believe just how good the soundtrack is. Very excited about that one. Then I got Mecha Salt 1 and 2. I don't know anything about them. They were just called Mecha Salt, and I got a pair of the pair for $3, so maybe I'll try them at some point. They just sounded cool. They looked kind of cool. The back of the box made them sound interesting. It's just something I just kind of want to mess around with, and I might as well get the sequel if it's sitting right next to it. Then we have the Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. This game I've heard about for a very long time. Apparently it's like just a movie tie-in. I don't know anything about the movie itself, but this was like a movie tie-in game or something, and apparently they developed their own studio just to make this game, and apparently it's a really good game, a really solid like action, stealth, escaping from like a prison or something. I don't know, but I've heard really good things about this game, and I figured I'd pick it up. This one's a bit odd. I have no idea what this game is. It's just called Scalar. It looks kind of like a 3D action game on the back of the box. I literally saw it for 99 cents and I was like, that interests me. I don't know what it is, but the cover art, the description on the back, it just kind of caught my interest, and I was just like, eh, screw it, why not? It's been a while since I picked up a game completely blind, like never heard of it, just look at the box art, okay, I'll buy it. So that's why I have that one. I don't know what to expect, but I have like one friend who's like, oh, you're in for something when you play that game, and I don't know what that means. The last one is Psyops, which is a game I've wanted for a really long time. The concept behind it has sounded really interesting to me, and I'm very curious to try the game out, but I keep forgetting it's a game I want, because I just don't remember it for some reason, and I just came across it on the shelf, and I read the title, I looked at the cover art, and I was like, okay. Then I looked it up just to see what it was, and I was like, oh, it's that game that I wanted for like 5 years, and I keep forgetting the name of? So, now I have it. Also, I got a microphone adapter for the original Xbox, because I have a Rainbow Six on the original Xbox, and it said something about a bunch of like voice commands you can use in game, and I figured that whenever we get around to that, we just had to try that. I also got a regular controller, or the Japanese, or the American version of the Japanese controller for the original Xbox, because whenever I play Xbox games with friends, they really like this one, and I really like the Duke controller. I really like this controller a lot, and so I just kind of got that for whenever I have a friend who wants to try something on Xbox, because just to have more controllers for the console, I guess, and because everyone but me prefers this one, so why not? I also got this, if you know the YouTube channel Metal Jesus Rocks with Jason. It's an HDMI cable for the original Xbox. It doesn't necessarily upscale it, but it just makes it look really nice on an HD TV. I've had some difficulties with it. I messaged him about it, and we did a little bit of back and forth, and I might have some troubleshooting, but it seems everything's still stuck at a 4:3 ratio, even though there are ways around it. I just haven't figured them out personally yet, so... But the picture on it looks amazing. I've tried it on a few games, and it looks really good. Then on to PS1. This one I just got today. This game has been on my shopping list probably longer than most games. Like, this one I knew right when I first heard about it, I had to get it, but it's always been pretty expensive. I never see it around in stores anywhere, and that's Medieval. And, like, even when I got it today, I had to, like, ask him, I was like, okay, here's a list of games that I've just been looking for, and I just always list off that game, and he never has it. And then he was like, oh yeah, I got a copy, and it's just sitting in my drawer because nobody really cares for the game or talks about the game ever. I was like, I'm looking for that game. He's like, well, it doesn't have a case, so you can have it for like a third of the price it's normally going for. That's so... I'm very excited about that. I guess it has a sequel on PSP I don't know much about, but I've been very interested in trying this game out, and I'm very excited to be able to do that now. Then I got Tomb Raider 1, which I know that there's some way to like play it free on PC now, I think. I think there's just like a website you can go to and play it, but I kind of figured I'd want it on the original hardware and stuff, because I always do that, and I don't know. It's just a game that you kind of have to try at some point if you're going to be a fan of the PS1, so I knew I had to get it sooner or later. Then I got the Activision Classics, so a bunch of Atari 2600 games that were ported to the PS1. I got it like $1, so I figured I'd try it at least. This one I can't actually show on camera, so you're seeing it censored out right now, but this is the JRPG that I've been hyping up so much on the channel. Because the one that won the like voting poll and stuff on Discord and Twitter was one that I had yet to own, so I went out and got it, and I even got like the black label, which is surprising for this game, and I got it at a somewhat decent price, somewhat decent condition, but all the discs are in great condition, so that's what I cared about. I'm really excited to play this on Twitch sometime soon, and if I already started or will be starting it by the time this video comes out, there won't be a censor. So yeah, this game. Then I got Final Fantasy IX, which a couple people in the Pixel Mixers community have been recommending to me, and I've just generally been interested in getting into the Final Fantasy series, because to date I have never played a Final Fantasy game, but now I own Final Fantasy 6, 7, 9, 10, and 10-2, and I'm interested in getting 15. But I've still never tried a Final Fantasy game, and I'm thinking that I'm just going to start with 6 and just go in the order of release. I've heard so many mixed things about, like, 8 and then 11 to 14 that I'm almost considering just skipping them, but that still gives me like 5 or 6 solid games, and then even the older ones to go back to, which I'd probably get the DS or PSP versions of that. But I'm very interested in trying this game out. Also, it's mint. Like, it was unopened when I got it nearly. Or it was opened, but it was resealed, and I couldn't find like anything saying it had ever been used before. It's in really nice condition. So I was very happy to find that. For PS2, I got Devil May Cry, the very first one. I don't know a lot about the series. I know that it eventually kind of became like somehow a spin-off with Resident Evil, or either the development of Resident Evil turned into Devil May Cry, or the development of Devil May Cry turned into Resident Evil. One of those things happened. Or the over-the-shoulder Resident Evil, at least. And I've heard really good things about it, and me and Chris have been interested in trying out the series at some point, so I got the first one, and mostly when I hear about the series, I hear the first one and the third one are the solid ones, so I also got the third one, and I made sure to get the special edition, because this game is actually notorious for being re-released, since the original version was considered too difficult for most people to actually reasonably consider trying to beat, so I got the possible version, I guess you could call it, but I don't know enough on the topic to really say that much. And then I also got Gran Turismo A-Spec, or 3 A-Spec. It was cheap. I'm interested in racing games to some extent, and I figured I'd try this one out. I've heard good things about the Gran Turismo games. I've never actually owned one, so yeah, now I own one. Now we can try it at some point. And as stated earlier, more Max Payne games. Got Max Payne 2. Pretty much just a rehash of everything I said when I held up 3 earlier. And for the PS3, I got the Resistance Trilogy. I've been interested in this somewhat for a while. I've got Resistance Burning Skies for the Vita, and I thought that was pretty fun. It's still pretty underwhelming and kind of low production value, but I've been interested in seeing what the actual games are. And what really stood out to me is they're by Insomniac, who made, well, some very unique and interesting games, and I'm really interested in seeing their take on a first-person shooter series. And originally I was just planning on getting, like, the first one when they had it on the shelf, and then I was looking at that and I was like, well, maybe I'll get the second one. And then I found this on another shelf, just the whole trilogy thing, and it cost less than even just getting the first and second game together, so I just grabbed that. Another PS3 game I got was God of War Ascension, which means that I now own every God of War game. I've played Ghosts of Sparta and Chains of Olympus, the PSP games, but I have not played 1, 2, 3, or Ascension, and until now I have not owned Ascension, and I'm interested in trying to get through that because we are like a month and a week away from when the next God of War comes out, God of War 4, whatever it's subtitled. Probably not even subtitled because games do that now to be edgy or something. But I'm really interested in seeing what the series has to offer. I doubt I'm going to beat those 4 games before the next one comes out, but I'll probably at least beat them before I get onto that game. And I'm interested in doing that this year, possibly over my summer break. On PS4, I got Shadow of the Colossus Special Edition. There's an entire separate video regarding this, and I've already streamed the entire game to completion, so there's not much more to be said. The Shadow of the Colossus Special Edition. And for Nintendo, I did not get anything on the... Well, I only got downloaded stuff on the Switch. I did not get anything on the Wii U, and the Wii... actually, I might as well show this. The Wii is only about 2 or 3 weeks out from when you can stop buying things off the Wii Shop channel, so I've just kind of been coming up with a list of games that might interest me to get on there. A lot of these I'm considering just getting on original hardware, or things like Chrono Trigger I already own on Vita and I've nearly beaten on Vita, so I'd mostly just get it on there to play the game again, but like in probably one of the best versions of it. I've heard DS and Super Nintendo versions are the best ones to play, and this is just the Super Nintendo one on a Wii. So, and Zombies Ate My Neighbors is another one on there that I've just been interested in it somewhat, but I've never really bothered to pick it up. I did a lot of research on the TurboGrafx 16 games, because those ones I know I'm never going to own the console, and I wanted to take advantage of that. The ones that caught my interest there were Dragon's Curse, Bloody Wolf, and Ninja Spirit. I just don't know if Bloody Wolf and Ninja Spirit will be on there, but if Bloody Wolf is, me and Ryan and Connor will be very interested in that. It's basically an alternative to Contra, from what I can tell. And then, yeah, just a bunch of Genesis games that are probably actually on Steam now that I think about it, but I haven't checked yet. I'll get to it eventually. As for GameCube, I got Bionicle, which this was one of my earliest gaming memories. That was the PS2 version though, and I don't really know what to expect. I watched a friend of mine play it when I was really young, and I just kind of picked it up for cheap because I was like, I just want to see like, what was it like as a kid? I thought it was kind of cool, but I don't know much about Bionicle then or now. I just thought it was cool, like the game or whatever, because I saw it as a kid, and so why not try it out, see what it's like. Then I got Super Mario Sunshine, which I've already completed 100%, and then on another playthrough, I just played it to the end, so I've beaten it twice. I just have never owned it. I've always been borrowing it off Connor, so now I actually own the game, which I've been meaning to get around to for a while. This one is mostly over there, so I'm not going to bother with that, but I got the GameCube Game Boy player, the complete version of it. I had to print my own sleeve for that, but the Game Boy player is on my GameCube, but I actually have the disc with it too, which the disc isn't in the best condition, but it works, and I'm very excited to get more out of it. So, because now I can do Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games like on the TV, but I can also just kind of have them as a TV or anywhere thing, kind of like with the Switch. And then also, now I can even record those if I wanted to, because they're through the Gamecube. And I originally would use something like the Retron 5, but this thing's basically a piece of trash, and it broke on me in like 2 weeks. Everyone says horrible things about it, and it doesn't even like it literally just emulates it and stuff, which isn't really something I'm a fan of. So that was kind of garbage. I wasn't that interested in pursuing anything else with that brand. So the Game Boy player I got at a very good price for what it was, about $60 for the pair of those. Nintendo 64, I got Wave Race 64, which I don't know a whole lot about. I've heard some things. Oh, what's Bunky doing? What's he doing? Bunky, what are you doing? I don't know what he's doing. Wave Race 64, I've heard some things about it. I've heard it mentioned a couple times from Metal GS Rocks, and it sounded interesting there, but another thing was one of my friends, Carlos, or Insane the Rain Music, he mentioned at one point that he really likes the soundtrack for this game, and it's the first game he ever played, and I was just kind of like, hey, it's cool. I want to get it. Then I got Turok 2, which, since it has the manual, it came with this weird case that I don't really like, but I might as well keep because it has the manual. It's got like a black cartridge. I haven't heard a lot about the series, but I've heard good things about it. I think it had 3 releases. Yeah, these cases don't actually clamp it. They just sort of rest in there. I don't know. I don't like these cases. They're confusing to work with. But I've heard good things about the series, and I think it's something kind of like Dino Crisis of sorts. Probably pretty different. I just don't know that much. I know that the store I got this from now has a copy of Turok 1, and I looked into it, and it seems like people far prefer Turok 2, and that there's not too much reason to go back to the first one if you have the second one, so... And that one cost like 3 times as much as what this one did, so... I think I'm just going to be happy with Turok 2, and... this one also interests Chris. This game, this next one, I have wanted this game for so long. I've been so interested in getting the Bomberman games. Like, not just the generic Bomberman ones, like the NES, Super NES, definitely not the Xbox arcade one, or things like Super Bomberman R or whatever. Just not like the standard Bomberman stuff, but like the N64 ones, Bomberman Hero, Bomberman 64, and like Bomberman 64 Second Strike or something, whatever it's called. That one's, I know I'm not going to find anywhere because it's super expensive. But I know these are really short games, like an hour or two, and they just look really fun. I just wanted to try them. I'm very interested in getting into them, and I've wanted it for a really long time, and I found it at a decent price, and I guess an instruction manual too. And down to the final 2, more that I got today. I got the Game & Watch Gallery 3 for the Game Boy Color. It's got a cool black cartridge, but it was a lot cheaper than I'd expect something like this to be, and I thought it'd be something cool to try out. It's kind of got like a gallery of like the Game & Watch stuff, which I don't have too much exposure to, the actual Game & Watch games. Then this one, although a very beat up cartridge, he said I could return it if it doesn't work, because it's been like chewed on by a dog or something. But Perfect Dark for the Game Boy Color. Now this is like the rare series that, like the big N64 game that kind of followed up GoldenEye to some extent. Apparently it had a Game Boy Color version that came out like just after the N64 version, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but I saw it on the shelf and I was like, I really want to see what this is. I just kind of want to. And I found that it's even like a prequel, I think, so chronologically you should actually start with this. And I've also heard things about Perfect Dark Zero that are really bad, but I'm still going to try it anyway because I own that on the Rare Replay. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what exactly this game has to offer if it works, because it's kind of beat up on this corner here. Focus. Yeah. It should work. Like, he cleaned the thing off, like, right in front of me. So, that's recent game pickups. Probably missed some because I didn't really document what games I was picking up. Technically, there's things like Pokken Tournament and what is it? Like Pokken Tournament and Star Wars, the Republic Commando or whatever. Those ones I got like back in like September or October if I really wanted to extend it that much. But I just noticed that in the last 2 or so months I've been collecting a lot more stuff. I've just been finding a lot more interesting things recently. And so I thought I'd show them off, see what you guys think about them. I'm not going to be taking comments, or you can kind of comment on everything you want, but I'm not going to be taking recommendations for like, you need to play this one next, you need to play this game with this person, or whatever. It's like, I'll get to them when I get to them, just kind of depending on whatever interests me the most once I finish the game prior to it. So, that was game pickup stuff, and generally what I know about each game that I picked up. So, I had a lot of fun. I enjoy this kind of video. I can't do them often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, unless you want one that's like just like 10 games or something. This was like 20-something, 30 games maybe. But I had a lot of fun. I think that's really cool. I'm looking forward to getting around to all of these, except for this one. I already got everything I'm really going to get out of it at the moment. But I'm really interested in getting into these at some point, maybe alone or with friends, and just seeing what all they had to offer. And a good number of them are actually possible for things like Twitch or YouTube. So let me know what games interest you. Do you feel nostalgic for some of these? Are some of these like, why did you buy this? Like, I've heard horrible things about this game now, but I don't know what to think because I didn't buy it based on that person's opinion. So what do you think? Let me know, and goodbye. That's it for this video. Let me know if you want more videos like this whenever I'm able to. Bye. I'm so unprofessional. I'm so unprofessional. Why am I even singing? I could be playing video games instead.